Yo, what's poppin', everybody? Welcome back to the podcast, another episode of Caffeine and Green with your man, Connell Cardenas. Before we get into it today, I just wanted to first talk about the newest coffee for Caffeine and Green. That's right. If you haven't already, head over to caffeineandgreenroasting.com today to check out one of our 3 bags of coffees that we're offering on the website right now. Of course, I'm talking about the Issa Blend, which is the OG coffee that we started the brand with. We also have the Victory Lap coffee, which is inspired by my homegirl, Leov Clockley. It's a single origin Tanzania coffee that's a little bit more tropical in taste, but it's still very, very good. And then also, we have the new collab bag with Shieldless Mag, which is going to be called the Morning Sesh. It's a single origin Huila, Colombia. That's right. It's super tasty. It tastes like a little bit of guava, a little bit of citrus, and it's very juicy. I'm very excited about this, guys. It drops on April 1st, 2021. That's right. That's this Thursday. So if you haven't already, head on over to www.caffeineandgreenroasting.com today. And also, if you haven't already, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to all of my homies over at Steel Mill Coffee in Oceanside, California. Of course, I'm talking about my homies, Anna, Giles, Little C, Riley, and of course, my G, Shay. You guys know who Shay is. Either way, if you guys haven't been there already, go ahead, stop on in, say what up to the homies. I know they would love to see you and enjoy an amazing cup of coffee. So if you guys haven't already, Steel Mill Coffee, Oceanside, California, get there. All right. My guest today is no stranger to the podcast. It's the return of the mighty Andy Mauser. That's right. Andy has a very interesting story. I mean, from the last time we were on, we talked about jiu-jitsu. We talked about just his music and being a professional musician and all these things. Pandemic hit. He couldn't do his live shows and do what he was doing anymore. So he hopped on a boat and went to Alaska and lived out there and worked as a fisherman and other things and manning the boat and driving the boat. It was amazing. I wanted to talk to him because he was in town for a very, very short time, and now he's back on the road. I don't know where he's at right now, but it was an amazing conversation. A very, very quick one because he was on a very limited time schedule. I think it was like 45 minutes. So guys, it's short, but it's sweet. So without further ado, my homeboy, Andy Mauser. This is your time to shine, homie. Let's go. Give me caffeine and green. It's your boy Connor. What's good? Good. Caffeine and green. And we are live.
You.
Andy Mauser.
How's it going?
Welcome back to Caffeine and Green, sir.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
All right. What do we got? We're doing Thorn Michelada.
Mm-hmm. Keeping it Mexican as fuck right now. I love it.
Dude, it's super good, and it's 4%, so you can drink it during the daytime.
It's a what do they call it? Like a session?
Session, I think.
A session?
Yeah.
IPA, but it's not an IPA.
No, it's a lager. They do the Barrio lager, and then they add. Well, it's inspired by classic michelada recipes in South San Diego and Northern Baja.
Boom.
Yeah, it says their team sets out to make a truly unique tasting beverage. It's true. It's delicious.
It's true.
Yeah. There you go.
Boom.
Yeah.
Dude, okay. So we've already been talking for probably like 45 minutes. I was like, we should probably start the podcast now. But we were talking about before the podcast. So you've been on the show before, for anybody who hasn't heard Andy's name before. And you, sir, last time you were on, you were making a living full-time as a musician.
Correct.
And then the pandemic happened, of course, and you went to Alaska.
I did. I essentially, when the pandemic was starting to happen, I guess, I kind of foresaw that the entertainment industry was going to take a pretty quick dive, and pretty much within 2 weeks, I'd lost like 6 months worth of gigs. So yeah, it was kind of like an oh shit moment. But there was the internet to kind of keep me alive. I was kind of doing some little internet gigs and stuff on a Facebook page I created, but
yep.
Even then it's like
Instagram Live.
Yeah, and you can only play for so long, and then other people catch on to you can make some money doing that just by tips and things. And I was grateful for those shows that I got to play, but then I knew that wasn't going to last, and it just so happened I had a friend, Samo, that he's a fisherman up in Washington. He's living in Africa now. That's another story. But
Africa.
He's in Africa, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's an interesting character. But he put me in touch with his old boat that was in Westport, Washington, and it's a boat that it's like a 1975 Marco It's a boat that fishes 3 fisheries. They do crab right now, so they fish Dungeness crab, and then in the summertime they go to Alaska, and they do they're a tender for the salmon season, and then when they get back, it's albacore tuna off of Washington.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, so the boat stays busy. Captain,
All the good fish.
exactly, and the captain hustles like he's badass, Captain Shane. So they, long story short, they needed a guy for that summer season to go to Alaska. And Sam hit me up and he said, hey man, he's like, I can't necessarily put my name behind you because you haven't been to sea before and never really been a commercial fisherman, but my boat's looking for somebody if you want to talk to the captain. So I was like, shit, man, like I don't have anything going here. So, I mean, why not? I from my background is I grew up farming, in Indiana. So I got to get put in the hayfield at 12 years old. And from there, like you progress on to working in spring and falls and winters and stuff and working on equipment. And then, so you start to get to drive the equipment and lo and behold, you get some experience on how hydraulics work and things. And that's what the position on the boat was going to be, was me running hydraulics for, essentially like I was running the anchor, and then, offloading fish using the hydraulics as well. So, and our job was, I soon found this out, but like the job of a salmon tender is, you take ice and fuel from the cannery you're working with in the port and you take it out to the fishing grounds, and you supply the fishermen with ice and fuel. And then in return, they catch fish and they bring the fish to you. You upload or you load it up onto your boat, weigh it, and then you just gather fish until the fishing season or the fishing times open and close. And then you go back to town with all the fish so that they can stay out and fish more. So that's essentially
You like sell it?
well, you're taking it to a certain cannery, so they process all the fish.
Okay.
So essentially, like that's what the summer would entail for me. So I talked to the captain, and fortunately enough, he, I guess, thought like, screw it, let's go for it. So I drove up to Washington, put all my stuff in storage, and got on the boat, met the guys that I was going to be with 2 days before we left, and so it was the captain and one other guy named Dan, and we left, and essentially it was 186 hours straight motoring from Washington up to Alaska, and oh dude, it was insane. We took the inside passage up through BC, so the east side of Vancouver Island, up through Prince Rupert, and then up through southeast Alaska, so Ketchikan up through near Juneau, and then you pop out into the Gulf of Alaska, and that's a 2-day crossing to get up into Prince William Sound, which is, if people are familiar with the Exxon Valdez crash in 1988, that's where that happened. And yeah, so our the journey started in Westport and hopped on the boat, and first night got seasick,
Did you really?
Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah.
Gotta get your sea legs, bro.
Had to get them, and it's no bullshit.
Because that's real open water. Like, that's real sea.
Yeah, and to them it wasn't that bad. To me, I was like, yeah, I'm good. I took some Dramamine or Bonine, and it didn't matter. No. And lo and behold, I didn't really even know that I was going to have 2 wheel watches a day as well. So 2 times a day I was driving the boat, like once late at night, 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. usually, and then an early afternoon, like 3 to 5 or 4 to 6. So it didn't matter if it was rough or not. So I was, thrown right into the mix, and it was you got to sink or swim.
Yeah.
And it was a really quick learning, the learning curve was throughout the whole trip, but it was like, okay, learn these things right away, and then we were underway for 8 days straight. So I had a lot of time to learn a lot of other stuff as well. And I was fortunate I know a decent amount of like navigation and stuff and how to use radar and such, because I went to flight school earlier in life. And essentially, it was 8 days up there, and my crewmate broke the shower head, so I didn't get a shower that whole time.
For 8 days?
Yeah, which was
no.
Funny. Oh yeah, dude, it was like
crusty.
Part of the experience, like it was one of those things where like when we finally got to port, our port was Cordova, and it was like when I got to take that $6 shower up at the marina. Oh man, it was one of the best showers ever.
I bet.
I
bet you do. Like, you wash twice.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you live and die by the adult wipe, anyways, on the boat. So, but it was one of those things where I was like, yeah, it's the only other people I'm around are stinking too, so it doesn't really matter, So
Bunch of dudes, anyways.
right. So and as a social experiment to get thrown into tight quarters with two people you don't know for 2 months is an interesting one, especially after I had been my own boss for like the last 7 years of just playing music full time. And in retrospect, looking back, I've had a lot of time to like just not dwell, but like kind of just reassess the whole trip and stuff. It was awesome to be able to jump into a situation where it's like, as long as I do what I'm told and do it well, like that's the life, It's like, dude, there's got to be a hierarchy on a boat, like there it has to be someone's got to be the captain, and it's like I'm trusting him to get us through safe passage and everything else, and to know what to do and shit fucks up. And he needs me to be able to be like reliable, to be like, and have common sense to be like, if you see something, say something, or if I do something, do it, or if I say something, do it, and don't ask questions why. It's like, and the boat is in impeccable shape. Like it's beautiful. It's the paint's always good on it. It's always clean, and that's like how he runs his crew. And I would much rather, like, looking back, like, and in any future endeavors, like, that's the kind of boat you want to be on. You don't want to be on like the Rust Bucket, like, and even if like the captain's super anal retentive about it, it's like, dude, there's for a reason, and you would much rather have that. So I saw that right away, and I was told that as well. It's like, dude, he just really likes a clean boat, and be careful with the paint. I was like, dude, growing up, man, everybody had to take pride in their ride. Like I get it, like that's,
of course.
That's like, and let's play that game. Like I'm with it, like it's like, I want to keep your boat clean too, because I'm fortunate enough to be occupying this space for these couple of months, and so yeah, I got up there, and it's a slow season up there. The last year when we were there, where we were, but our job was, we would like be in port, and it's crazy because the day we got there, like, I'd been around the ocean for like the last 15 years, 16 years, and in Southern California, the tides, they move like 6 feet, 7 feet when it's big. Up there, it's like the tides move. The day we got there, they moved like 18 feet. Just, dude, insane. Like, you'd be tied up to the fuel dock, and the water's just ripping through the dock, and it's only because the tide's going out. It has nothing to do with like you're near a river or anything. And
damn, yeah,
dude, it's the trip in itself, came across my radar, like, pun intended, not intended, like 10 days before we left. So I didn't have any clue that I was going to be going on this trip. And looking back on it, and I knew on the trip as well, I was like, this is going to go really fast, even though like each day sometimes can be really slow. And I was fortunate enough that the captain let me take a guitar with me, which was awesome.
Nice.
But I knew right away that I wasn't going to be writing any music, so I just like dedicated my time to getting better at playing.
Just refining your, like, fine-tooth combing, like refining your jams that you already have.
Not only that, but just like getting better at playing the guitar, like theory and learning, just playing scales over and over and make yourself better. Those kind of things.
Sick. Just
that practice that nobody wants to put in. Mm-hmm. And I was fortunate to like have nothing but time to do it. Yeah. So, and if that wasn't happening, like, I also took my camera with me. Like, I'm definitely a photo junkie. I think I took like 3,000 to 4,000 photos.
Did you edit them in real time, or did you like
just
took them and then
a lot of them I took them and then just like if I had time, I would upload them and start to edit them and like like trim the fat off a lot of stuff. And there's so much content to shoot up there.
I bet. Wildlife alone,
dude, being on the water for, our contract was for 45 days, and we were probably in port for like 6 or 7 of those days. So I always had my camera like on the table in the galley or like somewhere. If it wasn't rough, like, it was out. And there was always whales or porpoises or eagles, otters, bear, or we'd be fishing. Like sometimes we could drop a line and we'd be pulling fish up.
Like chill fishing, not like the mass production fishing, but like just
No,
like
we
like
were just
your own
our own rods. Yeah, and then we would pull up dinner, and
sick.
and like the guys really weren't keen on eating rockfish, but I'm like, dude, like I love rockfish. I started cooking rockfish, and they're like, dude, we should eat rockfish. I was like, I know. I was like, it's all good, like they're just kind of a pain in the ass to clean, and I'm like, dude, I'm good with it, and once again, clean the fish.
Scaling them and shit.
Yeah, scrub the deck, like you want to keep the boat clean. Like that was a big thing too. It, it was just like always, like no matter what you did, we were always hosing the deck down and stuff. But yeah,
Dude, you're just living in a constant state of wet the entire time.
Could be, but the weather was usually pretty nice though, so it was sunny.
Okay.
So they were there. I mean, where we were was our port was Cordova, so we were all over Prince William Sound, and a couple times we went to Seward, so we had to go back down out in the ocean to get back up into like it's a little more popular port.
Okay.
Because you can get there from Anchorage, whereas Cordova you can only get there by ferry or by plane. So it was to describe the location or like just the surroundings, you're pretty much surrounded by like the most pristine, beautiful, jagged mountains in 365 degrees. Like even the barrier islands have these huge, gorgeous mountains on them. Like, and it's kind of like Hawaii. It's like if you don't like the weather, just wait 5 minutes.
Oh damn!
It's that,
Okay.
And it can be like most of the days we were there, it was summertime, and the weather was in the 70s, maybe early 80s. Lows weren't too bad. They were like in the 40s and 50s.
Minor.
Yeah, we were offshore enough that the mosquitoes weren't ever really too bad because we were never really like near the shoreline. Yeah, I mean, it was a crazy chance experience. I should say that I was probably one of the best experiences I've ever had.
Dude, I have to tell you, my friend Demetrius, he basically bought a truck. Mm-hmm. He's like he got the like the thing that goes on the back of your truck, like the shell. The shell, sorry. Mm-hmm. And he's not doing van life, but doing like that truck life where he's gonna like turn his back with the shell and everything into this living area. Mm-hmm. And so we went skating a couple weeks back, and he's like, dude, I'm gonna go to Alaska. It's gonna take about 3 weeks. I'm going to drive from San Diego all the way up through Canada up into Alaska.
Yep.
I was like, are you serious? He's like, yeah. I was like, all right, I'll go with you. I was like, I'm just going to go solo trip. But he's like, if anybody wants to come, I was like, bro, I'm going to be honest with you. I was like, I might not be able to go the whole 3 weeks because that's a super long time.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'll do one of two things. I was like, I'll fly to like maybe where you're halfway, like into Canada, and maybe I'll fly to Canada and then I'll go the rest of the way with you or something like that.
Yeah.
Or like fly in Washington, then I'll go from Washington to Alaska with you. He's like, down. And his whole thing is that he wants to see the Aurora Borealis. Yeah. And I was like, dude, yeah, I want to see it.
It's magical.
Did you see it?
So I've seen it, but oh man, I'm about to tell a funny story. I saw it in Indiana.
Because it's in Iowa. Well, Indiana, Iowa, like they're next to each other, yeah?
They're pretty close. Illinois is in between, but
Sorry.
No, like I guess long story short, once a year, or like it's a phenomenon if they dip that far south in like the fall or winter time. And I happened to be when I saw him, I happened to be at a buddy's place in Indiana. Like it was our buddy Kentucky Todd, and he was like just a good old boy from Eastern Kentucky, but he ran a dozer at Camp Atterbury. And he always, man, I don't know if I could tell the story, but I'm going to tell it. He always came, like would go back home and then come back to Indiana with like 3 things. And he'd come back with like a jar of his mama's salt pickles, a jar of moonshine, and then a bunch of his like Eastern Kentucky weed.
Okay.
So we go down there and like smoke weed, have a good old time, whatever. And I remember leaving one night and I just like look up in the sky and I was like, whoa. And I just see this like kind of green glow going across the sky, but it happened to be coinciding with where the moon was rising in the east. And I was like, man, that's weird. And then I looked up and I just see these red curtains just like above me dancing. And I was like, man. And I was like, Todd. And he was like, yeah, man. I was like, dude, get out of here. I was like, am I tripping? And he looks up and he's like, holy shit. And he goes, no, man. And so I'm like, okay. I was like, so I'm definitely seeing that. And for some odd reason, I still jumped in my car and drove home. And I remember just like marveling, because like half the drive home, they were there. And I got home, turned on the news, and they were like, yeah, like tonight, like if you look out, like this is the phenomenon of Aurora Borealis. But if you go to Alaska, we didn't see them when I was there because there was 5 weeks where I didn't see dark. So
you went during that time.
Yeah, I'm in the summertime.
Summer solstice.
Yeah, we were there for it. Damn. Yeah.
What's that like?
I was really fortunate that the bunks in the boat were dark, you know, because it gets like to somewhat near dusk, kind of. That's it, you know. And then I remember coming back when
like a haze almost.
It's still light out. Like it just gets to be like, you know, the time where fireflies come out. If you're familiar with those.
They have fireflies out there?
No, but like,
I was about to be like,
guess
damn,
that's I guess a Midwest thing, but like it's about that time of evening. Like when the crickets start to chirp, you know, like it gets like that, but then it never goes darker than that.
Does that like fuck with you mentally?
It was interesting. Like it really was. I didn't mind it at all just because, I don't know, the experience in itself, the place is so electric and things can be dangerous and can go wrong so fast that it's like, it's almost comforting to know that it's going to be light for a while. Cause I would get seasick when it was dark and rough and I couldn't see the horizon. Like if it was light out, it wasn't near as bad. So like those 5 weeks of daylight were like, looking back, it's like, man, they were, you know, it's nice. Yeah. It's you're like fortunate to have it, you know?
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're in Alaska, but then via Instagram story, because we were talking about this before the podcast, like I was watching your story and I was like, this is so fucking cool, you know, like, but then you end up in Washington.
Yeah, I'm in Washington.
And so now you're back in San Diego. So like,
you
essentially make your way back down the coast.
Yep.
You're in Washington. How long were you in Washington for?
So I got back in August and I had a buddy who was doing some gardening, so to speak, up there. And I've got a ag background as well. So I've just kind of started doing some kind of consultant work for some people. Until COVID kind of clears up and the music scene starts again. So I've been fortunate to be up there. But yeah, the end all is like, I want to come back down here. Yeah. Probably in a couple months, or if I can go back to Alaska again for the summer, it'll be after that. So
I mean, it's right around the corner right now.
Totally.
At this point.
It's like, I've got feelers out for that. And, I'm like, why not? You know, because I got a taste of it and I was fortunate. And like, my thing was like, I really just wanted to work my ass off on that trip because I wanted to be, you know, like if the captain never needed anybody, or I just wanted to know that I was a reliable worker if someone needed to call on me, you know, and especially like someone that has high standards, you know, and for someone who myself had never really done that kind of work before, I was like, that's kind of a point of pride for me, you know. It's like, and we both train jiu-jitsu as well, so pride is kind of a different kind of word now that you train, but
humbling almost.
Exactly.
Getting humbled is a very much term.
Exactly, but to be able to wear like the badge of like wanting to do the best job you can, and even the captain, he was like, dude, he's like, you know, he's like, you could quit. And I'm like, what? He goes, dude, people quit. He's like, you just hop on a plane and go home. And I'm like, no, dude, that's not an option. Like, you know, no. Like,
dude, if you can get through a jiu-jitsu class and with some like killers,
right,
and you get tapped, whatever, but you made it through,
right,
bro, you can do anything else like in life.
Dude, and I was just, before I was here, I was with my professor, Rafael Dalina, and we were chatting, and Professor Demetrius Ramos showed up, like his buddy who's got the Lions in Tucson, Arizona, and he wing flies, like paraglides, and we're talking about that. And
god damn,
yeah, dude, and we were talking story and a lot about like parallels of having to keep calm in jiu-jitsu when things can go awry and other things, whether it be like wing flying or if you're into anything like any kind of sport or daily life, you know, if things get tough, you know, you need to be able to focus under pressure, and jiu-jitsu teaches us that.
Yeah, without fail, and I will definitely say, I mean, I'm definitely more of a striker. Like jiu-jitsu has been
That's not nice.
dude, I've always been a striker. My background in martial arts was definitely taekwondo and karate.
I should hug more.
Well, and then I got into jiu-jitsu and I was like, okay, and then I started training Muay Thai, and like I was like, oh, Muay Thai was like definitely way more my speed. Because I was like boom, with like kicks and stuff.
Yeah.
But then it was like, I'll never forget my first jiu-jitsu class. I remember I got caught in a straight up guillotine.
Oh,
and bro, that I remember like the first time tapping, and I was like, holy shit, when it came to the ground game, I can wrestle, but like no.
How
no.
vulnerable did you feel?
Oh, dude, so weak. I was like, my striking game is like, it's irrelevant when
Right.
it comes to if you're going to fight on the ground. So it was very interesting, but I think since that point, I've been extremely humbled. And then we were talking about like rolling with girls before, and it's like,
Yeah.
dude, some of my best roles have been with like my friend Hannah, my friend Leov.
Yep.
Like, and some of the best jiu-jitsu practitioners I've ever met are females, and like they fucking crush. They're tougher than some of the fucking dudes. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, you're scary.
And
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like I've been fortunate to have really good training partners and teammates that were females, and like some guys don't like it, some guys can't do it, you know, and it's some people only have one gear,
Yeah.
and they don't know. It's like you got to take into consideration of, you know, if you're rolling with someone who may be the same belt as you but outweighs you by like 60 pounds, like you got to play your game different. Just as, you know, if you or I are rolling with women, we play a different game. It's like, I could sit there and like hold somebody down with gnarly top pressure and just want to go for Americanas and
Or like
Kimuras all day.
stack or whatever.
Yeah, but it's like, why not, dude? Keep the flow going. Like, it's okay to put yourself in a not so good position, or technique is an amazing thing, and to me, it's like that's what jiu-jitsu is. You know, it doesn't, like you talked about the first day, you get caught up in a guillotine. I remember like one of my first days of training, and someone small just completely murks you, and you're like,
Oh yeah.
oh, dude. But then when you sit there and, you know, as the white belt, it's you got something to prove. You got something to prove. Well, as soon as you realize like you don't, you know, then you don't spaz as much, and that's when it's like you start to gain the trust of your teammates and stuff, and it doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman, old or young.
Well, because they're all going to teach you something.
Right.
They're all going to teach you something.
And everybody rolls at a different pace. So it's like, you know, there's older people that are my teammates that it's like, yeah, dude, I could go out and like use strength, but they're just going to use it against me, you know? So it's one
It's
of
all
those,
about angles too. Like
Dude,
they're going to know.
yeah. And it just teaches you, you learn something every minute of every session, you know, like.
Well, I mean, it's like I've had this comparison. I've made this comparison before with skateboarding, and it's like if you can do something and be good at it when it's actually physically detrimental to you, and
Right.
that translates to jiu-jitsu as well.
Right.
To actually do something where you're on a fishing boat. I mean, that is physical as well, but like in the scheme of life, you're not going into harm's way per se, because I mean you're on the open ocean, so you're kind of in harm's way. But like what I mean is that you're in hand-to-hand combat when you're in jiu-jitsu. When you're skateboarding, jumping down a gap, it's you against concrete.
Right.
These physically detrimental things to your body will hurt you.
Right.
But when it comes to like, yo, I gotta fill out this paperwork, or I have to do these super annoying things that take 3 hours, and it's just more mental than anything, like
Those are worse.
that's just tedious and annoying.
Yeah.
But if you can get through, maybe, dude, I know you know what I'm talking about. When you're in like a roll, maybe not even a 5-minute roll, you're on like a 7-minute roll.
Yeah.
You're gassed, you're dying, but you don't want to give up because your pride might be there. You're like, nah, son, I'm not giving up. I'm gonna try to like hold, even if it's just pulling guard and just holding on for dear life. Grab the lapels, whatever.
Yeah.
You know that you can make it through it, and I apply that to everything else in life, where it's like you can get through that 7 minutes of hell and you're dead, and then as soon as the bell goes off, you're like, Like deep ass breath,
Yeah.
like yo, let me get some water type shit. Like
Yeah, it's
that, you know.
and it's I was fortunate, like early on. I had a training partner that I used to coach him when I was a coach at Performance 360, and he was a black belt at when it was Clark Gracie before it was RADA. And I remember I was rolling with him. I was a new white belt, and dude, he just kind of like stopped and had top pressure on me. He just put his hand on my chest. He's like, dude, he's like, breathe. He's like, just breathe. He's like, it's so, he's like, you don't have to sit there and like hyperventilate.
Yeah.
And from then on, it was like, oh, so it's like I've always tried to roll like very calm, and then I try to take that mentality as well into if there's a situation that arises where it's like, if my blood starts to pop off a little bit, because I can have a little bit of a temper sometimes.
Super surprising you say that to me, because as long as I've known you, Fred, I've known you for like a better part of a decade.
Yeah.
I've never seen you lose your temper.
Yeah, and I usually don't, and it's and a lot of it's especially now with jiu-jitsu, it's a little bit easier to recognize a situation and where it's like, okay, I might have to use this, or it's like, well, this is all just talk, and like if anybody's ever worked in a restaurant or something where it's like you have to have thick skin because you're going to get laced up by a customer or a boss or something, like,
or even the chef.
It's chef. Yeah. You're going to get yelled at. Like that's how the boat was. And it was like there were times where I got yelled at and it was warranted. It's like, yeah, dude, like it's, it's,
yeah, you're fucking up.
It's
hey.
part, yeah, like noted, like the tone of voice is noted. And it's also where it's like, when you've trained jiu-jitsu and you learn a certain like special skill set, it's just like, you're way less likely to engage in anything because it's like it's not like that anymore, and
well, the repercussions,
right, and the consequence,
I mean?
and it's just like you're like, okay, and it rarely ever is it a time to use it. And the only time I've ever really almost had to use jiu-jitsu, I've never had to use it, was on a golf course at a charity tournament.
What?
Dude, yeah, randomly, like on a Monday, I was playing golf with our friends Nikki and Courtney and Spitler. It's me and these awesome three women, three of the favorite women I know, and we're all playing golf at the Christopher's Foundation tournament. I don't know if I should have said that or not. I won't say where. I won't say when. But but we're playing, and we get to up to a hole, and each hole sponsored by like a different company or whatever, and we had we hadn't been drinking. I hadn't been drinking because I was actually going to go train jiu-jitsu. The girls had been drinking, and we pull up to a hole, and there's like people there that we hadn't noticed before, and they were like drinking a bunch of shots. It's like Monday at like noon. And it was like,
but it's a golf course. So
yeah, dude, they're just getting hammered.
Yeah.
And I noticed an electric guitar in the back of their golf cart, and I was like, what the hell is that? So they take off finally, and the kid who was working the stand or the sponsorship, he's like, oh man, it's like, dude, they stole the guitar. And I was like, dude, wait, what's up? And long story short, they got drunk and stole this like sponsorship like display guitar. And so I was like, dude, I'll go get it, So I followed them down after they hit their shot, and I just followed them after their cart stopped, and I went and grabbed the guitar. I was like, y'all, I was like, we're not doing this, And the one guy like looked all surprised. He's like, what? And then the other guy's like, we didn't steal that, like, blah blah blah. We're just trying to give it to the cart girl. And I was like, nah, dude, we're not stealing, So I go back to the
like, quit playing, son.
Yeah, I was just like, I wasn't like coming at him. I was just like, I'm just taking this back, So they like follow me back to the tee box and get out with like clubs in hand and are like wanting to come like
all tough,
get all aggro. And the girls jumped in between us, and they put like 10 steps in between us. And I was like, yo, like nobody's accusing you of anything, And I was like, but and they're piping off like, who we are, this and that, we donate all this money. And it's like, dude, nobody cares.
You still can't steal, bro, even if you donate money.
Well, by that time, like the next foursome behind us came up, and it was the tennis pro of the club. So it's like he saw everything go. And then I remember, but after the whole situation happened, I just remember calling Hoffa, and I was like, dude, I was shaking, but I wasn't shaking because I was scared. It was because of what I had learned that I could do to someone
easily.
And it's like, and he's like, doesn't it just make you feel better to know that you let them walk away? it's like drunk guys at noon on a golf course. It's one of those things where it's like, okay, this shit's serious. But to be able to have the skill set, no matter what belt you are, like the higher belt you get, of course, the less likely you are to use jiu-jitsu in a confrontation.
Yeah.
Because it gets real serious. But you walk away with like a calmness, and a confidence, and a knowing that life can get uncomfortable, but it doesn't compare to almost getting choked out or jaw locked.
Hell no. Dude, I would rather take walking away any day of the week than if like that motherfucker.
Dude, fighting hurts.
He was like, say you're like, hey man, I don't want to do this, and then this guy tries to act tough, and say on the off chance maybe he's an upper belt than you, and then all of a sudden he starts scrapping with you, and you start throwing your jiu-jitsu, and then he gets you in something, and then like
especially in San Diego,
especially in San Diego, like
yeah,
dude, almost like what I heard some number, it was like something super low, like 1 in 3 or 1 in 5 guys train, whether it's striking, jiu-jitsu, like whatever. So it's like, that's not really good odds if you really think about it. Like to talk shit in San Diego, like, bro, you have to be either stupid or you are like a badass.
Yeah.
There's really no in between.
Yeah.
And it's like the loudest one in the room is usually the weakest, unless you're in San Diego, or you're Gordon Ryan. Like, I mean, hold on. Let's pause right here.
Yeah. Time. And then you have like the head of one of the most successful like competition academies ever in Atos. And obviously there's like prior beef with just like
internet trolling.
Yeah. Keyboard warrior shit talking. And it looks like it's come to a head, and it's just, it's entertaining to watch, but it's equally like as unfortunate where it's like, has this become like a Conor McGregor type situation that that they're wanting to bring viewers and such, and
exactly.
it adds some spice to the sport, to the lifestyle, and it's just it's still super fresh because it only happened like last night or
it was like yesterday or something like
so
that.
So we're all still kind of dissecting everything, and it's just kind of like, is this like reality television? Is this
exactly.
are they acting? Is this real? I mean,
the slap was definitely real.
For me, yeah, dude, totally. Both slaps were real. Watching Reed Connell be like, wait, what the hell's going on in the video where they're in the banquet hall and Gordon's getting ready to do his post-fight interview or whatever, and all of the memes that came out of this are those are the real winners. It's like just what the internet has provided in between, like talking about John Danaher's fanny pack too, like Gabby Garcia coming in to hold Andre back to it. It's just like, whoa, like this is
serious. It's like,
this isn't like clickbait. This is like, wow, dude, this is actually like this. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just like the same shit as like supermarket tabloids. I don't know, but for some odd reason, we're talking about it. So
I mean, two of the baddest motherfuckers on the planet in jiu-jitsu are talking shit to each other, and like,
yeah,
the thing for me is like what we were talking about before the podcast is like strictly MMA is one thing. You're punching people, you're doing these things, but you're doing strictly jiu-jitsu. It's like, yo, this is like, you can't escape that. So you have two of the baddest motherfuckers on the planet talking shit to each other, actually physically hitting each other. Yo, this could be a very, very brutal jiu-jitsu match where like, maybe even if the dude somebody taps, they may not let go or like do some gangster shit.
Yeah, I someone told me early on, and this still rings true, is like, in fighting, loser goes to the hospital, winner goes to jail. And I'm not saying that would happen in this case, but it's almost like there's no winners if these two like
were to actually hurt each other, like past the submission.
Beyond jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Like jiu-jitsu should settle this. Not like striking and stuff. You know?
100%.
It's like if it's going to happen, like if they want to do a money fight or if it's got to be ADCC or whatever, like is what it is. But it's still pretty fresh. And we live in a town where, everybody's knows everybody. They're within one or two people of knowing the whole jiu-jitsu community. So it's kind of like, it's better to, I think, to take the humble route and be like, well, we'll just watch this from a distance and kind of just see what happens. You know, it's something where it's good for the soap opera optics, if that's what you're into and stuff. But then it's like, in retrospect, you look at it and you're like, damn, it's like, this is supposed to be like the gentle art.
It's definitely a sport about respect, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I mean, when you throw that in there against Gordon Ryan, it doesn't really seem like he's observing that rule, if you will.
Yeah.
Because he's definitely not about respect, but he also backs it up. So it's kind of like, fuck.
Yeah. I mean, he said he was going to finish Rodriguez with an arm bar, and he finished him with an arm bar.
Dude, he hella did. Like
yeah,
a good arm
like
bar,
he didn't,
too.
and he even said that he's like, I don't want to just be known for leg locks, you know? So it's like, that's pretty insane. Like, whether or not he would want to transfer over to MMA would be awesome to see, you know? Like,
that would be so, I mean, I don't think so, man. I think he's already got his niche.
yeah.
Stay in your lane, bro.
Yeah.
You add striking to the mix, like, that could be his end game. Like, I mean, you've seen it multiple times. I know you watch UFC, so it's like you could see it, a jiu-jitsu black belt. Yeah, and if they don't get you to the ground though, you're fucked. Like,
right.
Because they don't know how to strike too much.
Yeah.
You got to be able to bang.
What do you think about Buchecha has been training MMA? So I think that would be, dude, that'd be cool. That'd be like,
I mean, I don't.
Another like
when
Verdum
you're an anomaly like that, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he has the size. You know, like at that level, there's no at his size. There's not a lot of dudes that would be able to do their ground game. Yeah. But I mean, you just saw Derek Lewis fight Curtis Blades, and he knocked him out. And Curtis Blades was like, I'm going to take him to the ground.
Yeah, right.
He stuffed the takedown, and he fucking uppercutted him and knocked him out.
Well, and Cormier was saying, he's like, now you see why Ngannou wouldn't go in on Lewis. Like, he respected his power that much, where that fight with Francis Ngannou and Derek Lewis was like, it was the most boring bullshit thing to watch. Because
I was there live. I watched that.
You saw
bullshit.
It.
Yeah. I was thinking it was going to be a bloodbath.
It was like a ballerina.
Dude, they got booed. Yeah. Because that was the very first Stipe Cormier fight. Mm-hmm. Dude, Anthony Pettis was on that card too. Mm-hmm. He broke his hand.
Oh yeah, he fought who did he fight that?
I don't think it was Tony Ferguson, but it was definitely like the fight before the Tony Ferguson fight. Right. I don't remember who he fought, but he broke his hand. Yeah. And he couldn't fight. So the fight got ended. The Derek Lewis, Francis Ngannou was bullshit. And then Cormier, Stipe was the headliner, and Stipe got knocked out.
Dude, he did that uppercut, and then he came back and beat him.
Dude, yeah, he won it. That was Stipe.
Twice.
Yeah, he just 2-1. Yeah. Stipe is he's the champ.
Stipe Ngannou is coming up though.
Dude, number 2, and that's gonna be scary. That's gonna be really scary because I feel like Ngannou might take him out. But Stipe is my favorite. But put both of those aside, the ideal would be, okay, even though I'm a Stipe fan, Francis knocks out Stipe. Francis Ngannou gets the belt. John Jones,
of course,
first fight,
of course,
heavyweight, light heavyweight champ against the fucking heavyweight champ.
Who?
John Jones beats Ngannou because he has more skills than just a knockout punch. He has kicks. He has ground game. He has everything. And obviously, John Jones can take a hit. I think John Jones becomes heavyweight champ in 2022.
I wouldn't bet against that.
And then Izzy comes up and battles him.
Ooh. But dude, it's been proven that like when guys switch weight classes, it can be detrimental.
It can be super detrimental,
especially if they're going up or down.
But the thing is like light heavyweight to heavyweight. Yes, there's a difference, but like, I don't know, bro. I feel like if Stipe beats Ngannou for a second time, it doesn't fucking matter how much power Ngannou has. Like, Stipe is the GOAT. Period.
Well, yeah, Francis says he's better be working on his ground game. He's had to have been working on it because that's where his holes were.
Well, the thing about it is, though, Stipe is the only one who's been able to take his hits consistently. Right. Alistair Overeem, nope.
But how did he beat him on the ground? He beat Francis on the ground. He would take
Did
Francis down. Yeah.
I don't even remember. Dude, I don't even remember
He took
that
him.
fight. Really.
He ate some shots, but then like he wore him out on the ground. Yeah.
I mean, I believe it.
I'm pretty sure that fight went to decision. I may be
Dude,
wrong.
I don't even remember.
Don't listen to me. I'm an idiot.
Dude, I'd have to watch it again or at least like get a refresher on it. But I just know that I was scared because I watched the Alistair Overeem and the Ngannou fight, and like I remember watching him just get his head blown off.
Yeah, like you wondered how it stayed attached.
Yeah, and then the next fight, like Stipe's like, what power? Like he ate it, but I mean, granted, he ate it, but it probably took some years off his life for sure.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But it also took him a year to recuperate after because that's what they say. The argument what was right. He took these beating from Francis Ngannou, but won.
Right.
A couple months later, he goes against Daniel Cormier. Daniel Cormier catches him on like just a slick punch on the chin in the clinch, and he drops.
It can happen.
It can happen, but then
you think he was banged up from
the
Ngannou fight?
Still fucked up from the Francis fight, in my opinion. Like, because now he's good, and it's like, oh man, he had a year off between that last fight to that fight, and then he comes back in against Daniel, and he like essentially mops him. You know, just body shot, body shot, body shot. Like,
oh yeah, dude, that was masterclass when it was like round 3. He started to like see it, and then I think it was round 4. He just like zeroed in on the kidney shots, you know. Yeah.
Son.
Yeah. It was, I mean, that adaptate, like to be able to adapt like that, and it was awesome.
I loved it. I'm just excited. UFC is very exciting, and
it is. Especially,
I love fighting.
You know, when you have a striking background as well, so you can watch that technicality, and then the jiu-jitsu background and the technicalities, and that you're like, oh, dude, like you start to see. You start to jump into the fighter's mind a little bit. Oh yeah, you know, and
dude, watching people pull like knee bars in an MMA fight, like whoa, like god damn, you know Ryan how hard Hall. That is. Essentially, that's no gi. Yeah. Do you know how hard it is to pull a knee bar in no gi?
Yeah,
like because everybody's all like slippery and just like.
But then also, it's like when you have those practitioners that are going against people that don't know. It's like, man, it's almost. It's not cool.
But I mean, that's what I mean. It goes back to Derek Lewis, who started this whole conversation. It's like learn how to stuff the takedown.
Right.
Jiu-jitsu, wrestling, whoever. You stuff it, and then you're forcing them to stand up with you, and then you have a dude who's an amazing grappler against a dude who's an amazing striker, and he's forcing you to stand up and strike with him.
Yep.
And then he knocks you out.
Yep. That's a plan.
If it's executed well, fucking A. I mean, that's just fighting for you, though.
Yeah, that's a plan.
Well, dude, I know it's a super short podcast, but I know you have to go. But even though this is the first podcast I've done that's less than an hour in a very, very long time, I am so happy that you got to come by and talk.
Likewise. I think our first one went like 2 hours and 20. So
definitely, I believe it for sure.
Yeah. So I appreciate getting to come and hang out and talk with you as well, like, and to catch up. So we've been friends for a long time. So.
Yes. Dude,
yeah. So
whenever you come back again,
and we talked for like an hour 15 before we hit place.
Dude, for real, you got here, and I was like, we'd been talking for like, I think it was like a 45 to an hour. I was like, we should probably start the podcast.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, I appreciate the platform, and I'm stoked with everything that's gone good for you and stuff, and Steel Mill.
You too, sir.
Yeah,
you too.
And dude, just I'm stoked to continue to watch it grow for you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So, are you going back to Washington?
Yeah, I'll be back there for a couple months, and then I'm gonna move back down here, and maybe go to Alaska for the summer. If not, move back down here. But if I go to Alaska, then move down here after that's over.
Okay.
In the fall. So yeah, I'll be back. And
let's plan on meeting up again when you come back for whenever.
Yeah.
And we'll catch up, and I'm sure you'll have way new stories.
Yeah, we'll go check out the barbecue down at
Hot Mess.
Yep. Side yard of Hot Mess, dude. I went there today. It was super freaking good.
Dude, I'm bummed you're not going to be here for the pop-up. But it's going to be tight.
Dude, what is the pop-up? Tell everybody.
March 12th at Hot Mess, which is Side Yard Barbecue in the Barrio. Mm-hmm. You helped build it.
Yeah, dude. I did a little bit. I got to do a little work there. It was freaking awesome. Like, yes, it's great crew. the great people, great spirits, great
The homies.
the homies, dude. And
Yes.
they put out damn good food too. Brisket today was
It was proper.
dude, hell yeah. They gave me some of the flat, some of the point. Dude, their potato salad was sweet potatoes and Granny Smith apples. It was badass.
Stop it.
Dude, it was fire. Their beans were like super, super on point.
Baked beans?
Yes, sir. But like they call them like chete frijoles, I think.
Oh, what?
Oh yeah, dude, it was legit. Like Ernie was on the spit. Like yeah, Kenzo was there, Dave was there. Like
Buttery.
you got legit people there, and yeah, the whole crew. So yeah.
Well, dude, thank you so much. Oh, do your shout outs.
Yeah, I wanted to shout out to Sassy Seafood. Check them out. That is the boat that I was on. They have a company that essentially they take their albacore tuna that they catch and they can it. So it's like canned awesome albacore tuna.
Buttery.
If you're into shit like that. So check them out at Sassy Seafood. Other than that, my shit's been pretty dormant, but it's Andy Mauser music. I just started a new album this week, actually. That's probably going to take a year, but that's okay. I'm going to invite all my friends in to play and sing harmonies and stuff. And but yeah, other than that, just I can't. Oh, dude, another shout out, Rada Jiu-Jitsu in La Jolla.
I was going to say, you got to shout out some jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, love my family there. And if you are interested, come train with us. I'll be back soon. And yeah, other than that, man, I'm blessed. So
I fucking love it.
Cheers.
All right, G.
Okay.
Well, I'll let you go. Get on around your way
All
because
right.
I know you're leaving tomorrow. But
Yep.
thank you so much, even for if it's a short time, to come onto the show.
I appreciate you.
You're always welcome.
Thank you.
All right.
G.
Peace.
All right.
Yes. Thank you so much, Andy. Like I said, short but sweet. I love catching up with Andy because it's like, we never missed a beat. It doesn't matter how long we haven't seen each other. Pick up right where we left off. Guys, thank you again for listening this week. I really appreciate all of you. I see all you guys around the world who are listening and supporting Caffeine and Green every single week. So thank you all so much. And if you guys haven't already, head on over to caffeineandgreenroasting.com today. Check out that Issa blend, that victory lap, or that new morning sesh with the collab with Shieldless Mag dropping this Thursday, April 1st, 2021. And guys, please be safe out there. Take care of each other. Say what up. Say you love each other. Just whatever. Take care of each other. Wear your mask. And I will see y'all later this week. Peace.